Hello, Ron. You got Larson Stair here from Stairstep Strategies with another episode of Musings of an Entrepreneur. And really today, what I want to talk about is another common question that I get from startups that I'm working with. And it really pertains to metrics. So what are some of the most important metrics for seed stage companies? And what should we be tracking? What should we be aiming for? Is this revenue? Is this user metrics? Is this something in between? I wanted to shed a little light on this. But before we get into kind of what I would do if I were to start a company today moving forward, I want to talk to you about what I did do with my previous startup. Back in 2020, we founded a company called Demoflow, which eventually became Gondola. And in the very early days, when we were really in our beta testing, before we had even gone full time, and it was just an idea that we were tossing around, my co-founder Jack had created a product. And really the main thing that we were focused on was making sure that people would spend money for the product that we had built. And so we had a hypothesis that if anyone in our beta team or beta cohort would pay us $5 a month, that would be basically validation behind that we had a great product and that people are willing to pay for it. What ended up happening is we got basically 100% conversion on those early beta users. Now, the issue is they were all friends. And what I learned from this is that frequently your friends are willing to pay you a nominal fee just to utilize your product. And the thing that we may have missed was, do they actually really have this problem that we're solving? Are they just doing this as a favor? Are they going to use it? And I'll say, deluded ourselves into a false sense of product market fit in the early days. And so if I were going to do it again, I would certainly, and when I do it again, I'll certainly do it differently. And one of the best analogies I ever got for the road to product market fit was one from one of our engineers, Bruno. And he compared starting a company and releasing different products to if you were going to start a burger shop. If you have a burger shop, you're going to start off with one location. Really, you're going to have customers come in, and it's going to be a real big problem if people only come in once and you have a really crappy burger and they never come back. And so before you start a second location with another, frankly, crappy burger, what you need to do is focus on the first location and make sure that you have the best burger that is out there. And people love it. They keep coming back. They just can't get enough of this thing. Then and only then do you expand into a second location because you have the recipe figured out. And so that's the message that I think about when working with early stage founders, and even for myself, is before you focus on the revenue pieces, my opinion is that you need to focus on usage metrics. Now, based upon what your product is and how frequently you think they should be utilizing it, whether it's monthly, quarterly, daily, weekly, what have you, that is really up to you and your product. You need to get some alignment around what is the ideal usage there. And then you need to start tracking this. For us, we got a solution called Mixpanel way too late in our journey. And I really wish we would have gotten it sooner and had it be more or less the bedrock of our kind of litmus for product market fit. So we're tracking weekly, or monthly, weekly, and daily active users and getting alignment around that usage and tracking that over time. Additionally, from there, I'd focus on retention. How many people are coming back? How often do they come back? And try to get those two pieces really dialed in. If people aren't using your product, then it's not solving a problem. If they're not coming back, then maybe it solved a problem, but they don't see it as an ongoing issue. And those are things that you really want to go explore, and really don't move past go until you figure those two pieces out. That's the bedrock by which product market fit is built upon. Other key things that you can look for, even before you start charging, is referral rates. How often are people referring you to other friends, family, colleagues of theirs? And then once you get this good cohort of, it could be free users, you need to conduct some pricing kind of sensitivity and feedback surrounding that once you have users that are deeply retained. And the kind of message that I certainly believe is that if people give you their time and their attention, they will certainly eventually give you their money. It is possible to get people's money before you get their time, but there's no guarantee that they'll continue to give you their time as you continue to work with them. So that was the key crux of some of our mistakes in the early days, is we thought, oh, they gave us $5 a month. It seems like they're really bought in and they love it. Seems like product market fit, but we weren't tracking the user metrics quite as much. Now, once you have this good bedrock of user metrics, retention, referral rates, and you really dial that in and know How long does it take to get somebody activated? What does that retention look like? Then and only then, in my opinion, can you start to think through revenue. And one of the best companies I ever saw do this was Forcastr. In the early days, they had a combination of their product that they were selling, but then they also offered consulting services on the side, see fractional CFO services. I thought it was brilliant. And what they did really well in the early days, this was years ago, is as their product was in its infancy, they had this combo approach and they really slowly increased their pricing over time as they got more customers to sign up. And I think it was Techstars that taught us this. When you're trying to figure out what's the right price to set your product at, let's start at $9. And then you get a cohort of 50 that go in at $9, and then you double it to 18, and then you double again to 36. And what you're looking for is for conversion rates to drop, because you don't want everybody to sign up. Like that could be a sign of a too low of a price point, and nobody signing up, that could be a sign of too high of a price point. And so this can be a good way to get to a good sweet spot, which is really up to you on how you want to price your product and what conversion rate you're looking at. But ultimately what you've built this upon is really solid user metrics. Your product is actually solving a need. People like it, they use it, they come back. And then once you're doing this user testing around pricing, you can start at a certain spot and then inch your way up to a spot where you're converting X percentage here. This is some of my key learnings from starting my own company and some of the things I would have done differently. And certainly when I start another company, this is absolutely what I'll focus on in the early days. So I hope this is helpful, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Thanks so much.